Welcome to Friends Assemble. Hi, I'm Kevin, and I'm here with Andy and CJ. They're gonna watch me, Andy's gonna watch me play, and CJ's gonna listen to me talk, and yeah, this is usually how the show goes. I did have a great way of how I wanted to do this, and it just fell apart altogether.
I just need to say that I really love that you talk with your hands when no one can fucking see it.
It's a crutch, alright? Leave me alone. There we go. I like this one better, actually.
So what do you have for us today, Kevin?
Okay, well, I was going to ask you guys if you ever had any crazy roommates.
Yes.
Also, yes. One of them is in this room. Or not in this room, in this chat.
Andy's a crazy... Kevin's a crazy roommate.
Alright, CJ, then I'll let you start off then. For crazy roommates.
Ooh. Should I go with Mike, the guy who makes tacos with ground turkey?
What's wrong with tacos with ground turkey?
They're not tacos.
Oh. What?
CJ's very opinionated on his tacos.
Oh, okay.
Tacos is chicken or ground beef, maybe shredded pork or shredded beef, but not ground turkey burger.
Well, see, wasn't the thing with that, though, that he didn't just buy ground turkey, he actually bought turkey burgers and then minced them up?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that is what makes him a weirdo. It's not using the turkey, necessarily.
And he was into, he's married to the girl he met on the internet now.
Okay.
They have a really good relationship.
But
the stuff...
I'm sensing a butt.
And the stuff that I walked in on, and not even walked in on, I just happened to be going to the bathroom. And he's walking her on a leash around the apartment. And I'm
no.
What?
Yeah. And she didn't even know I was there. It was really awkward for everyone involved. And then they asked me if I wanted to play Nintendo Wii. I said no.
She was she was still in a collar or something, or was it oh, CJ walked in on us, how about we just kind of make things not so awkward and offer Nintendo Wii or something? No. Oh, okay.
Nope. I wish it was that way. The Lord, I wish I was. Listen, that apartment, this was when I first moved out of Grandma and Grandpa's house and I lived across from the hospital.
Right.
So much shit happened in that apartment that was so weird. We had a guy come over who lied about his sister dying and ended up staying at our apartment for a week and a half until I kicked him out because he was eating all the food and he smelled bad. And I was like, you gotta leave. And he was like, but my sister died. And I was like, I don't care. Leave. Oh. That's not my problem. And then, he wouldn't leave. And one day when he was out, I took all his stuff, put it in a trash bag, and threw it off the balcony. Oh. And then the cops came and were like, well, did you throw his stuff off the balcony? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, he says his valuables were broken. And I said, well, how do you break clothes when you throw them off the balcony? All that was in there were some pants and some shirts. And that's it. He's like, well, he said that he had a PlayStation. And I was like, how does a homeless guy have a PlayStation? Where does he hook it up? Why would he just be carrying a PlayStation around?
More importantly, show me the broken PlayStation.
The cops went through the bag. He was like, there's no PlayStation. There's no shit.
It's no shit. He just wanted my PlayStation.
He lived on our couch. And it was really weird because this was such a weird situation. He came over and he was friends with some mutual friends that all came over. He partied at the apartment. And
just never left.
The girl that came over, he had a crush on. And I didn't have a crush on her, but I was gonna smash. And
that girl?
He got really yeah.
Oh.
And he got really upset about it. She was hanging out in my room, and that's when all of a sudden his sister died. And the night became about insulting him.
And you could feel the night descend into shittiness.
It's interesting. I didn't even really care because it wasn't like someone I was like super interested in. It was something that was just something to do that night. Like,
Oh my God.
You sound like a monster right now.
He was like, it was just something to do. It didn't mean anything to me, but...
Alright, let me put this disclaimer out there. This is pre-married, non-relationship me.
Well, I hope it's pre-married.
And no. To give context, like, my attitude towards women and people are very different today than they were back then when it was just a game to chase skirt. And it wasn't like she was into me, like, wanted to have a relationship. She just wanted to hit, and that was it. Like, we were gonna hit, and that was gonna be done with.
Okay, so you both knew what this was.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like I was leading her on or anything like that. It was just
because the way you said, the way you made it sound.
No, it was a one-nighter for the both of us. It wasn't something like bad intentions, like I'm gonna make you fall in love and throw you out a window. It was nothing like that. It was just, you know, we're both consenting adults. We were drinking. Hey, you want to go back to my room? Cool. That was it. And then his sister, quote unquote, died, and then it became a night about consoling him, and we all consoled him. Like, I told him, you know, I feel bad. You know, if you need anything, da da da. He's like, can I crash? You know, here tonight. I don't have a place to go. Because he was living in a shelter at the time. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, like, whatever. Me and my roommate talked about it. But then, like, night turned into days turned into weeks, and then it was like, yo, get the fuck out of my apartment. Like, go to the funeral, be with your family, do something, but do it somewhere else. And he got all, like, pissy about it. And then there was nights where Mike would bring home random girls who... He would bring them over, and they would start with it. He brought over a married girl.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Who started off with him, somehow ended up with me. And Mike got into a fight with the husband because he found texts from him in her phone.
Right.
And Mike didn't even sleep with her. I did.
Oh.
Yeah. And he brought her home though. It was really weird. She like came over consistently for a while. And she used to always make me breakfast. Really weird. I didn't know her name for like
Wait. So why did Mike get the text then? Or was Mike getting like all the...
Mike was trying to still get with her.
Oh.
Because Mike was like, hey, I know you got with her, but do you care if I try to get with her too? And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, who? You know what I mean? And he would say her name, and I'd literally look at him like, I don't know what that is, but if you want to go with her, go for it. And I was never like home when she came over. Or anything. She'd come over, go to Mike's room, they'd do the thing. I'd come home, go to my room. I'd get a knock on my door, and there's a girl who comes in my room, she starts talking to me. I'm just like, okay. I just went with it.
Oh, okay.
This was like a year before I met you. My wife just walked in the room.
Oh, cool. Alright, that makes sense.
I won't say the girl's name on the podcast, because... Hey,
she
I
was
don't
married.
remember if her name is right. If I say it.
I don't remember it's the right... Oh, alright, fair enough.
No, it was like weird situations. Like, Mike had a saga of bringing different girls home. Finally, he brought home the right one. Like, the one who was on the leash and wanted to play Wii. If the girl he actually married.
Okay.
Like, he'd bring home random girls all the time. Cause, like, the type of, like, environment was like, hey, let's fill the apartment with girls and have parties all the time. And he'd bring home the girls and, like, end up sleeping alone. Like, he'd bring home girls that had boyfriends. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, they wanted to come over and party. I'm like, you're just giving them free liquor so they can go fuck somebody else.
You're like, oh man, no, why?
Like, they're like setup on us.
Or the innkeeper?
Yeah. You know what it is? Remember when Andre was helping Pete with the girl who was married and letting him use his loft?
Yeah.
That's kind of who Mike was.
Okay.
I want to set up a bone zone for you.
But like, he tried so hard, brought home girls all the time. He had like these high standards for girls too, which is really weird. I was like, a guy who sits all day playing video with his boxers could not have that many high standards as you.
I was gonna say, I know Mike.
And there's nothing wrong with it, but like, he has these high standards that he himself doesn't live up to.
Listen,
To
the thing
like, require those standards.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Is like, it's one thing to have high standards. It's another thing entirely to have unrealistic ones.
Yeah, he was like, I want this girl to eat this way and look like this.
You're
and
like,
have this
what?
figure, and I want to be able to do this to her and that. And he found it because, I mean, that's his wife now. But like, the whole way it came about, like, he told me, like, yeah, I found this girl online and she lives in Westchester. I want to have her come over, and I'm like, wait, what? Are we gonna get killed? Like, who? And when I met her, it was just like really awkward. She talked to me while she was on her little leash, and she had like a normal conversation with me, invited me to play Wii with her and Mike. And I'm like, I'm not going into a room with you and Mike while you're on a leash to play Nintendo Wii. Those are things I'm not.
Kind of gruesome.
Like, I'm sure you're a very nice person. I'm gonna go to my bedroom now. This is actually when I got my first big screen TV too, because Mike made fun of me because I had a little TV. And I was playing Assassin's Creed. He's like, "How do you see on that?" Blah, 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 blah. So when he came back home the next day, I had like a 50-inch TV, and I lived in a really small room in this apartment, Kevin.
Right.
That 50-inch TV was every bit like my entire fucking wall, and my bed literally went from wall to the TV.
So the TV barely fit in your room.
Yeah. He was just like, when did you get that? You know, we could put that in the living room. I was like,
No.
no. Get the fuck out of here.
And I'm like, I'm sorry,
playing
is this a
Assassin's
house
Creed
TV?
But Mike by far is probably my weirdest roommate.
Right.
Andy was my best roommate who I've had like the best adventures with.
I'm just a
But-
pretty cool guy.
Mike was definitely the roommate that like things got awkward and uncomfortable. And it's not because like he was a bad person. He just did weird things and brought home weird people trying, like, you know those reality shows where it's like Flavor Flav tries to find love. I felt like I lived in Mike Tried to Find Love.
Yeah.
Well,
He'd
okay.
bring home these girls, I would have sex with some of them, and then he found the right one.
See, now I feel bad because my story, my roommate's story was just I caught my roommate having sex with his girlfriend, and I just kind of shut the door, and they never knew it was me that came in and saw it. So I'm like, oh, okay, you're telling me that you had a whole reality show happen.
Now I can tell you a funny.
CJ, when CJ and I were living together, we were a fucking reality show.
Jeez.
I could tell a funny text story about.
Is this going to be the Terminator 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, fine. Go ahead. We have time for one last thing, so go for it.
Hold on. Before I tell this story, I have to get the blessing of my wife to tell this story. All right. Cool.
I don't.
It's good. So, when me and Andy were together, our friend and Andy were watching TV in the living room, and Jess had a friend named Brittany who was always like in our bedroom, like because they were like a package deal. They were best
She
friends,
basically
whatever.
just lived with us.
Oh, okay.
And Jess wouldn't like tell Brittany to go out to the living room or anything. So whenever we had sex, it had to be in the living room.
Okay.
Because I couldn't have sex in my own room. Alright, yeah, she wasn't there. Every time Brittany was there, I was kicked out of my own room to have sex with my now wife. Anyway, one night we went out there, and Andy and Dan were watching TV. And I'm like, let's just lay on the couch for a while. And I convinced Jess to let me have sex with her while Andy was across the room watching TV, and Dan was on the couch next to us. Like on a separate couch, like his couch was next to the couch we were on.
We had like a
we're
little
doing it
amphitheater
and
set up.
everything,
Okay.
and literally during sex, like I had locked eyes with Dan.
Well, I need to state that the important thing was that Jess was like, "Are you sure they're not awake?" And you met eyes with both.
Okay. See, maybe I don't understand how the living room's set up. If as soon as you walked into the room, wouldn't you see that?
So it was set up where the couches were all facing outwards, where the TV was.
Okay.
So you couldn't immediately tell if anybody was awake or not.
Oh, okay, I see. So you could see the TV was on, but you
Yep.
couldn't tell. Okay, I gotcha.
So I'm literally having sex with Jess, looking at Dan with this big ass grin on my face. And Dan's looking at me like this is so uncomfortable. And I'm still looking at him because it's kind of like one of those things where
You don't want to break eye contact. Yeah, exactly. You had a
Like, I'm
staring
not blinking
contest.
So we
Looking
go
away is
there
a sign of
and
weakness.
we're all done. Jess leaves. Andy gives me the thumbs up.
I want to
And
state, the important thing was the reason why I gave you the thumbs up was because it was Terminator 2, and we had just hit the ending. So as Arnold Schwarzenegger is sinking into the lava, I hit the switch on the electric recliner so that it looked like I was also sinking.
And the last thing I said was, "Good night, Dan." And Dan goes, "Good night, CJ." And that was that and Amy and ice cream sandwiches are probably the most memorable asshole things I may have done at the apartment.
There were a few.
This girl I used to bring over, and I didn't really like her, but I just wanted some, and she was easy.
Yeah.
So like when I wanted some, I'd call her, and we'd do it. And I'd literally like right after, like first of all, I'd have like Sports Center on or something that I could watch while we were doing it.
Oh my god. Alright, George. Okay, George. Alright, try to have best of both worlds, but go ahead.
Anyway.
It wasn't even trying. He did.
And like afterwards, I'd just get up, wash up, and leave the room. And I'd like leave her in there, and she'd be there for like an hour. And I'd be eating ice cream sandwiches or playing Skyrim with Andy. And I'd just like totally ditch her. One night she came over, we did it, and she asked if Andy could give her a ride home. I said Andy's asleep. I took her to the bus stop, gave her money for some coffee at the Westchester Diner, came back home, and then hung out with Andy because I knew Andy wasn't asleep at all. But
Yeah, he
I
just knocked on my
didn't wanna
door.
be bothered with it.
He just knocked on my door and was just like, "Hey, she's gone. Do you want to play Skyrim?"
Oh my god.
And here's the kicker, Kevin. The bus never came. And she had to walk all the way into town. She called me a few times, but I just acted like I was asleep. I didn't know the bus didn't come till the next day, though. I didn't know she was walking home. I thought she was going to bus because it was cold outside.
That's kind of cold-hearted right there.
I bought her coffee and put her in a restaurant. If it was cold outside, she would stay there.
Okay, alright, yeah, alright. I'm gonna have to end the episode here right now for where it
Oh,
stands.
you don't
so.
hear about Mushmouth and the Nerf gun?
We'll get to that some other time. That's another time. Alright. Thanks for watching. Yeah, no. Alright, okay. So, alright, I'm ending it here. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I just told you two of like a top 20 list.